Perfect. All right, so welcome. If you haven't joined me before, my name is Kelly and I am the plant-based kitchenista. So we do these classes about every 2 weeks, unless there's something that because of work or something like that I need to move around. But we've got the classes through February, and I will actually am working on right now to get the classes through March, and then hopefully even a little bit further in that. It's kind of nice to get them out there advertised, and then that way you can see them and kind of plan them on your schedules and all those fun things. So working on that as much as I can. We also do Chef AJ show. So we just did one, I think last week that we just did, and that was a lot of fun. It's always fun with Chef AJ. And then we've got another one coming up on the 8th, I think, of March. So that one's coming up too, it's another really fun one that we're going to do. And we'll actually do some meal prep with that one. So hopefully you can, if you don't know anything about Chef AJ, tune into Chef AJ show, because like I said, we're going to be making like a bunch of different things and stuff, but everything will have like, if it's like tofu and stuff, we'll be able to use it in like 2 different dishes and vegetables and all that. So it makes the meal prep a little bit easier, because it's kind of the time of year that, it's getting a little bit nicer out. The weather's kind of changing in the sky, and the light in the sky and stuff is changing a little bit. So always good to throw in a meal prep in there and kind of show everybody how to do some fun things and, have some meals that are ready and easy to eat. So we'll do a little bit of that. But otherwise tonight, we are going to do Jackfruit Noodle Bowl, and we'll talk a little bit about jackfruit, because that is it's almost like a tofu and stuff. It's one of those ingredients that you can use, and whatever sauces or whatever spices you put on it, it soaks that up and pretty much tastes like that. So it's also something that they always say it's a good, if you're just brand new to plant-based, it's a good, like a meat substitute, because it gives you that mouthfeel of having like meat type of a thing. So if you don't like jackfruit and kind of want to stay away from it, you can always use eggplant or something else to substitute, or just completely stay away from it, because if you see on the counter and stuff, we have lots of beautiful vegetables that we're going to be putting in this noodle bowl. And then we're going to do a cucumber kimchi, which is basically cucumbers, and it's just mixed in kind of like a kimchi sauce, but it's actually cucumbers it takes almost like the taste of the cucumbers out a little bit, because I'm not a big fan of cucumbers, but because they don't like me very much. But the cucumbers and stuff has a really good flavor with them, and it just changes the flavor of the cucumbers. And you could actually take those and put those on top. And so it's almost like, if you're pickling onions or something like that too. So those are really good. I actually will eat a few of those because they don't taste so much like a cucumber to me. So, all right. So I'm going to have Jerry introduce himself first, and then we will get started cooking, because that's, we got a lot of ingredients put together, but it looks like it's a really hard dish because it's about 2 pages for your recipe. But to put things together, you can make the sauces ahead of time, have them in the fridge, use them for other things. And then it's just more about sauteing the vegetables, and I've got the noodles cooking so that we can soak those too. So not too bad. All right, so get Jerry up here. Wash the noodles. You come up one.
Okay, welcome everyone. If you don't know me, I'm Jerry Casados. I'm a plant-based nutritionist. Been plant-based now, going on 17 years. We've been plant-based together.
I started at 4.
Started very young. And I did it for health reasons, and my own heart disease is developing, and on 3 blood pressure meds, cholesterol meds, all that stuff. Not good. But then had some bad diagnosis of plaque building up in my arteries with some heart images, and decided I needed to change. And I found Dr. John McDougall, of course. Many of you know him. And I went to his 10-day living clinic, and helped me get off my medications, and basically get well again. And I lost about 35 pounds in the process, and all's good. And I learned so much from Dr. McDougall, decided to go back to school for nutrition. And that's why I have a private practice now, and a few consultations for clients. So if you're interested in a free consultation, I'll be glad to do that. 30-minute free ones. Address any health issue or diet changes you like, or transition if you're new to it. And jackfruit, tonight I'll post some of the vitamins and minerals of jackfruit. That's really quite a bit, actually. I'll post that information in the chat window. For those that know, it has the same texture as beef. Really, it is for tacos, for burritos, and what Kelly's making tonight. So it's really good add-in for those who missed the meat texture and stuff. So it's really good, I think. But anyway, other than that, behind the camera and waiting for the food.
Waiting for the food to eat. Yeah. As Chef AJ says, he's a very lucky boy, and I agree with that. So I cook a lot. All right, so I'm just kind of watching the noodles, just making sure. So so it is a jackfruit noodle bowl. So one of the things that, you can use your favorite noodles, you can use glass noodles, you can use, whatever you're doing. I'm just using actually spaghetti noodles. It's more, I like glass noodles and stuff, but when I'm doing something like this, I like it to be a little heartier. So we're just using regular old spaghetti, whole wheat spaghetti noodles, and that's what we're doing. But you could do it, really fun and do kind of like, penne, or, like some of the smaller noodles, or you could actually do like linguine, or you could go and, pretty much all the different things that you want to do. And there's tons of things out there like artichoke noodles, or, all kinds of different Asian noodles, completely up to you. But we're just doing it tonight, simple, because we always have spaghetti noodles on hand. So it was just easy to do. All right, so we're going to do the jackfruit noodle bowl. So the noodles are, I would say, I started them a little bit early. You just try them, and I think they're ready. Yep. This is something you could do ahead of time too. You wouldn't have to worry about doing it right then, but it's kind of fun to have nice warm noodles. So I'm just going to drain them really quick because I'm going to get them into a big bowl. The reason why I'm draining them and getting them ready early is because I want them to be able to kind of soak in the sauce a little bit. So it's always a good thing to have saucy noodles, still a little warm. So 8 ounces of noodles. Just get the pieces and parts out. Like I said, just regular. These are just the regular spaghetti noodles. Yep. Out of the way. Just put this off to the side. Put it in the way. All right. So nice noodles. Looks good. Let me go ahead and get the sauce started. So if you're following along, we're going to do a 1/2 cup of low sodium soy sauce or tamari. It's up to you. If you don't want to do either one of those, you could also do coconut aminos, which is another one, which is really fun. Then we're going to do a tablespoon of gochujang. So it is just like it's like a red pepper. It's using the red peppers and stuff. It has a little bit of, it's kind of like a little bit of nuttiness and a little bit of heat. I would say on a scale like between that and sriracha, gochujang doesn't have as much heat. And it's got a little bit more of like the pepper taste. So, but good. If you don't have gochujang and you don't want to, it's like Bobby Flay's like favorite sauce now. But if you don't have it and you're like, oh, I don't want to have to go buy it, you can get it at pretty much all the grocery stores now. You used to have to go to the Asian market. You could also just put in like sriracha or something like that, substitute in. You pretty much want something that's a little bit like of a kick to it. And I'd say sriracha, easy to get a hold of and easy to do. That's gochujang. Then I've got date paste. So, you can buy all the different types of date syrups, date paste and stuff that are at Walmart's. And, I think it's the Date Lady, but I just made my own because I always have the dates and stuff that are ready. So I just soaked them in water overnight and then I just put them in the blender and blended them up. So, because a lot of times and stuff, I use date paste quite a bit, but I don't use a lot. So I didn't want to make a huge bunch of it. Should get a different spoon so we don't mess up our date paste. So we're going to do a tablespoon of date paste, and that's basically for your sweetener. If you don't have date paste, don't want to make date paste, you could use agave, you could use monk fruit, you could use maple syrup, or you could just say, you know what, I just want it spicy and I want no sweetness, and you can leave it out. That's another way to do it. All right, so then we've got that in there. We've got a tablespoon of toasted sesame seeds, so we're just going to add those in. So just give it a slight little mix. Yep. Messy today. All right. And then once you've got that, you're just going to pour it over the noodles. And that's why I pulled them out early. It's because I want to be able to have the noodles soak in the sauce. Let's just grab. We'll do it to us. And truthfully, without even any vegetables in it, that looks good. Any kind of noodles that are like sauced in something, good. Got a little bit, I can smell a little bit of the gochujang. Is everybody familiar? If you're not familiar with gochujang, let me know. And I'll pull it out of the refrigerator and show you what it looks like. But in the meantime, I'm going to set these off to the side because we've got a lot more things that we want to be able to get ready to do. Not from my book. I'm gonna grab it. Two different ways you can buy it. Like I said, Bobby Flay's cooking shows, everything. It is his favorite. It's his favorite sauce, or basically he calls it his condiment. So there's two different ways. So at the Asian stores, they usually sell it in these little buckets, and it's a lot thicker. So it's almost like a really thick paste. So it'll say gochujang, and it's brown rice, red pepper paste. So it looks just like that. And you can, like I said, that's the Asian stores that I find it. The grocery stores now, same thing. They call it a Korean chili sauce, but it's the exact same flavor and everything. Comes in these little bottles, which is really nice and handy because these tend to dry out a little bit, the little buckets. So this one was just a brand that I got at a regular Kroger's. I've seen it at like Natural Grocers, Whole Foods, and it's always when they put it together, it's always within all the Asian food. So usually next to like tamales and everything else, but gochujang. So those are the two that you can get, but there's other different ways that you can buy them. Like I said, otherwise you could do, if you've got sriracha, you could do that too. And then I've also seen it like in the squeeze bottles, like the big squeeze bottles, like sriracha too for gochujang. But up to how your stores decide to carry it. All right. Thank you for asking. All right. So we've got everything in there. So we are going to get the next sauce going because that'll be for the jackfruit. So if you look at the ingredients, the exact same sauce we just put on the noodles. So you've got a half a cup of low sodium soy sauce, or tamari, or coconut aminos, whatever is your favorite. Then we've got a little bit, so we're going to add a little bit more moisture to it. So we've got 3 tablespoons of let me make sure I'm looking at the thing. Yep. So the date paste, grab it. And then I'm going to just close it up because date paste will tend to go bad. So just keep the air and the yuckiness out of it. Then we've got 1 tablespoon of the gochujang. If you decide that you're making this and you're thinking, I'm not a big fan of spice and I like just a little bit, then I would say this about any recipes, even mine that have been tried true, go low on your spices, low on your sauces, like the gochujang and that, and then stir it up and taste it and then be like, okay, I need to add a little bit more. And then maybe you decide that in your noodles, you want to have the gochujang, but within the vegetables and everything else, or the jackfruit, you don't. So play with it a little bit and then kind of mark through the recipes, because that's the best way and stuff to get the recipe the way you like it. Because what I don't want you to do is, if you're not real like into spiciness, and we like spiciness here, if you put too much and you're like, I can't eat this, and there's sweat coming down your brow and everything, then you won't eat it. And so I don't want you to waste food in that. So always go low, build up to it, add more because you can do that. But if you put too much, you'd end up throwing it away, which is not good. Yeah. Can homemade date paste be frozen into smaller amounts? Yes, you could. So you could actually take the date paste, and thank you, Mona, for bringing that up. And you could actually put it like, when you're, a lot of people and stuff, they'll take basil and then they put it into little, ice trays type of a thing, ice making trays. And then you could do the same thing with your date paste. So you could make like little cubes of it and have the date paste ready to go. So that's a really cool way to be able to keep it, because in the fridge, I would say 2 to 3 weeks, about as much. But if you end up doing a lot of baking and use, a lot of different kind of like sweeteners and stuff, then you'll go through your date paste pretty fast. But otherwise, do exactly like what Mona's asking, freeze it, which is a great idea. All right, so we got the gochujang in there, so I can't even talk today. Done too much talking. Then I'm gonna do a little tablespoon of vegetable broth, vegetable stock. And if I can get this open. Okay, there we go. Not wanting to let go. All right, so I'm just going to eyeball it. So tablespoon, because what's going to happen is when you put it with your jackfruit, it's going to soak up the moisture. So you're adding just a little bit more moisture to this part of the saucing for the jackfruit. All right, and then we've got a half a cup of water. So if you wanted to, you could just do it all water. So a half a cup of water, and then just a tablespoon of water if you didn't want to open up your vegetable broth, if you're not using that. All right, then we got the tablespoon of toasted sesame seeds. And that's it for the sauce. little bit of whisk. It's a little bit nutty because the sesame seeds, a little bit sweet and a little bit spicy. So got all those nice flavors in it. Okay, so we're gonna set that to the side. Oh, messy today. The good thing about always having something that you can wipe down really quick, just in case. All right, so that's ready to go. All right, so we've got everything. So we got a medium saucepan. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit more vegetable broth because we're gonna start sauteing things up. This is not a good container for some reason. It's sticking. Weird. All right, so we're gonna start this up. Let's get this medium-high start. Just because you always want to make sure your noodles are good. Just saute them up a little bit. Do that. So nice and warm. And the nice thing about it, if you're thinking about, well, the noodles are going to be cold, they won't be because I'm going to actually, when we get done, I'm going to add them back into here so they'll get warm again. But if you want to, keep them even warmer and stuff, you could just put some saran wrap on the top and you're good to go. All right, so we've got the tablespoon. We're going to add the mushrooms. So shiitake mushrooms. We've got 4 ounces of shiitake mushrooms. It was a little bit more. This was probably about almost 6 ounces. So it looks like it's a little bit more. Just decided instead of freezing them, because I had leftovers and I've got plenty of mushrooms in the freezer, we would just go ahead and use them because Jerry likes his mushrooms. But if you can't, so another tip and trick, if you can't find shiitake, because I know it's, even though we're past COVID and we're supposed to be past all this, the supply chain and all that, there's times and stuff you'll go to the store that you can't find things like some of your favorite ingredients and things. So if you can't find shiitake, you don't have to use shiitake. You could use button, you could use portobello, whatever you find, whatever's your favorite. So always remember when you're sauteing mushrooms, and I'm sure you guys all know this, you're like on the nose, Kelly, that you don't want to put a lot of moisture into your mushrooms because they tend to leave out a lot of moisture. And so you want to make sure that you don't do too much. So you always want to just get it started. But if it starts drying up in the pan and starts, you can see like here, the shiitakes are starting to really soak up the moisture. You can always add a little bit more. And then that way you're not sitting there and trying to put a lid on it and drain and do all those kind of things. But you can see it's a little bit moisture is coming out of the mushrooms. But like I said, if you always, let's just say you can only buy like an 8-ounce pack of the mushrooms, and maybe you decide, you just want to saute them up for everything else, but that's fine. But if you only want to use the 4 ounces, you can put them into a Ziploc bag and you can put them in the freezer. So you could cut them up into slices or keep them whole. And then you have them for other recipes, which is really good. Soups, that type of a thing. So just saute them up and they'll start turning they went from kind of like a white to like a little bit more of a beige, a little bit of the browns coming out. Just want to keep sauteing them a little bit, kind of moving around. That way you don't really have to add any more moisture, which is really nice. Start getting soft, looking good. All right, so we got that. So we've got all the mushrooms going. Then we're gonna do that. So we're gonna add the jackfruit. So jackfruit, I'm just gonna turn this down to low right now. So jackfruit, of course, is a fruit. So it comes and you can get it like in the Philippines, Vietnam. It grows on trees, and the trees are they're tall, but not real tall. But they sometimes will get about this big. And then they're usually like the color, even darker than probably like a spinach leaf color on the outside. And then it's almost like they have like little prickly things all over them. When you cut into them, they can actually be, they can be like really sticky, the rind and can get all over your knives and things. But half the time you don't even need to do that. If you go to the Asian markets, you could actually, pick up pieces of jackfruit that you can scrape up. And then you can actually go like at, Sprouts and things like that. We've seen it in the stores, and they've actually sold it where they'll sell it and it's about this big instead of like this big. if you do it fresh, that's why I turned this down, but if you do it fresh, it tends to be like a kind of a white pinky color, almost like a bubblegum color. And it tastes like cantaloupe, honeydew, and a little bit of bubblegum together. And it's really good as like a refreshing fruit, kind of like if you mixed it with cantaloupe or watermelon or something like that. But when you get it really fresh, it's not as good to put into recipes like this because you're going to get that really sweet, almost like fruit flavor. So this it's actually been more like dried out. So the one I get is, I like the Uptons. And so Uptons in most of the stores has them in little packets with all kinds of different flavorings. And then they have the fresh ones. And they're a little pack like this that's over usually by the tofu. And Uptons is a really good brand. I get it a little bit bigger because we make like heroes and all kinds of recipes and stuff with jackfruit. So this one's really nice. It's like 25 calories. And I know Jerry put some information on there, but it's, it's just called Jackfruit Jacquier. So show it a little bit. And it comes in these little bit packets, which you can sometimes find on Amazon and sometimes you can't. These are ones and stuff that we did find on Amazon. So you get about, I don't know how many ounces on here. Oh, 35.2 ounces, which is really nice. But you can also see on the back of it stuff, I actually froze it. So what I used part of the package and then I froze the rest. And this one here that we're going to be using here too, so when you show the packet, was frozen. So it comes up really well. You don't see, there's not a lot of liquid. There is a little bit. So if you do get a little bit of liquid like that, just drain it out because you don't need it, but very little. And then you'll notice when you're actually working with jackfruit, let's see if I can find one. This one may not. Sometimes if you buy it in the cans, and I'm not a fan of the canned jackfruit, and the reason why is here we go. It tends to be, they say it's like in water and stuff, but for some reason, I don't know, it tastes like there's a brine in it or something. But you'll notice when you do jackfruit, you get these little seeds in them like this. But it's okay. Just take the jackfruit like this. And if you've got like a fork or something, or just smash it, that's just part of the jackfruit. So don't go through the jackfruit and throw that away. It's just part of it. All right, so we're going to add, so if you're following along, I'm going to add the jackfruit. And so we needed for jackfruit 1.5 pounds of jackfruit. If you're not sure about jackfruit, start small of jackfruit. But also one of the really good things and stuff is to let it saute with whatever flavors you're putting in and the spices, because that's what makes the jackfruit taste really good. Yeah, it's so the can, that's what I was talking about a little bit about, and thanks for bringing that up. But the jackfruit in the can is usually kind of more of a beige white color. This one that I like, that's the reason why I like the Uptons, is they have it, and there's not anything, I mean, if you look at the ingredients and stuff, it is organic young jackfruit, water, and that's it. That's all that's in this. But it's just, I think the process that they use to package it up makes it a little bit darker. Yeah, there used to be a vegan, it was called Nooch here in Colorado. So if you're in Colorado, and it used to carry that, and it was about $12 for the big pack, the 35.2 ounces. Cans are usually $3, $4, $5. And I think the little Uptons packs, which are really nice, and they have flavored ones like barbecue and that, those are really good. And those are like $4.99. And you could actually use one of those too. That pack would work for what you're looking to do. You'll notice too that some of the jackfruit's in big pieces like that. Same thing, just put your spoon to it or a fork, and then just kind of mush it up a little bit. The nice thing about this, the Uptons brand, is the color, because when it takes on the colors and stuff, it actually, like I said, a lot of people will think it's like pork or beef or something like that in tacos, and so they're like, oh, didn't realize that was jackfruit, which it's all good. So just sauteing it up. Just making sure if there's any big pieces that kind of breaking them up a little bit. Let's saute for a minute. All right, so we're doing that. We're going to add the garlic and the ginger here in a second. So let me grab my ginger because it's in the freezer. So like if you go to Costco, you go to different places, you can get a lot of ginger. So to keep your ginger fresh, keep your ginger in the freezer, which is really nice. So you can just grab pieces out when you need them. Let's just grab a piece that we need. I've had this ginger here in this pack, the Ziploc, for probably 6 months plus. And it's still, when you take it just like this and you start to, get your microplane or a grater and you start to use it and stuff, it will smell just like fresh ginger. And it just keeps it nice and fresh. And you don't buy it like a nice piece like this and then you go in the refrigerator 2 weeks later and it's about that big. Great way to have fresh ginger all the time. So a lot of questions that I get will be usually on the recipes, they'll say, take your spoon and scrape off all the, all the skin that's on the ginger. When you freeze it, you don't have to. Every once in a while, you're going to get a piece when you're grating it, a little piece of the skin, which you can just pull off to the side, but you don't have to do all that extra work when you freeze it. So we're going to an inch piece of ginger. And it grates really easy too when it's frozen. And so like there, like I said, there's like a little bit of the skin right there. You can just pull that off and keep going. Okay, so throw it back in there. I always get the air out, ziplock it up, and I'm going to hand it over to Jerry on the other side so he can throw it in the freezer for me, please. Garlic. So just regular, garlic that's minced up. So we got 3 cloves of garlic. Garlic's another one. You can buy minced garlic all over the place now. So you can get it at Costco, that type of thing. We always talk about, and Chef AJ and I talk about this a lot. You can spend hours and hours and hours in the kitchen, which is fun. I find it relaxing. I think it's a really nice thing and stuff, but a lot of people I know are like, I don't have time to chop. I don't have time to, I just don't want to take the time to do that. So buy things that are, you can mix like with convenience. So, if the garlic's already minced up, and so it's just a matter of, taking a couple tablespoons out and doing those kind of things, that helps with speeding up the cooking process so that you can sit down and enjoy your family more, which is really nice. Smelling good. Let's give a little time to stuff for the ginger to soak in. Okay, so we got everything in there. So we're going to the next step is going to take the gochujang sauce mixture that we mixed up here. And of course, just give it a little stir. And then we're going to add that into there's most of my gingers on the spoon. We're going to add that to the jackfruit mixture. So while that's sauteing a little bit, I want to get the cucumbers going a little bit too. So sliced up cucumbers, these are just a regular cucumber. You can buy those the little pickling cucumbers, which makes it even cuter. But we just did the regular cucumbers today. Grab let's leave those there. We're going to make up the sauce. So the sauce for this, red chili flakes. So it is. So red chili powder. This one's really fun. So you could actually just use the regular, the red chili flakes and stuff. But this one is a Korean one, which is really nice. It's a red chili powder. And you can tell I haven't, see the little thing, I haven't used it a lot, but it's really good flavoring and stuff if you want something that's just a little spicy, but not as spicy as red pepper flakes, but adds a really good flavor and stuff to like these type of like kimchi or cucumbers and stuff to make them taste like really good. So that's one of my favorites. Amazon, I think it was $4.99, so not too much. So we're going to make that. So we're going to we've got a tablespoon of the chili flakes, bright red, which will make the cucumbers turn a little bit like some red color. I've got 1 garlic clove, minced up. What's the spice called again? It is called, so it's just a red chili powder. So it is, it's coarse, and it's by Jayone. So Jayone. And taste-wise, to me, it tastes like it's more like kind of like a poblano pepper and maybe a little bit hotter pepper that have been dried out and mixed together, but doesn't have a lot of kick to it, but it just gives a really nice kind of a peppery flavor. That's what it tastes like. But like I said, $4.99 on Amazon, or you can go to Asian stores. I just didn't want to get in the car and go drive, so I just got it on Amazon. All right, so we got the globe, we got a sugar choice. So we are going to use this one. We're going to use, because I wanted a little more liquid, I'm going to use a little bit, we're going to use the agave. So a little bit of sweetness. You got a little bit of spicy, a little bit of sweet. Was it sweet and spicy and everything? What is that? What's that thing? Sugar and spice and everything nice? Yeah. All right, we got that in there. You've got a tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce. You could actually do, like I said, coconut aminos, whatever you're looking to do. And then I've got a tablespoon of scallions, green onions, just to add a little bit more flavor. And then we're going to whisk it up really quick. I'm going to add just a little bit of water because I'm going to want it to get all over everything. Cucumbers, nice sliced cucumbers. You could do them on a mandolin. You could do them by hand. And then I'm going to add black sesame seeds. I'll show you what it looks like. So you've got black and you've got white. I love the black just because the black, just when you're taking photos of something or you're serving it out, everybody's like, ooh. So I haven't mixed it up yet. There's what the black sesame seeds look like. And then I need to grab lid since I switched the dishes. So you can see, I'm going to let them soak for a little bit, but you can see where the red coloring and stuff is starting to come onto the cucumbers, and you'll have a little bit of the sweetness, a little bit of the pepper and stuff. So I'll just kind of keep shaking it. So this is something that you definitely could make a couple days ahead of time, put it in the fridge and just let it sit, marinate, and just kind of pull it out. Put all that in there pretty. Side. Shake it a couple times. All right. Now that the ginger's been soaking in, I'm going to add the sauce. I'm starting to add a nice color, starting to darken up the jackfruit because it's going to soak up and take the flavors of the sauce that you have in there. So it's got a little bit of that soy sauce, a little bit of the spiciness. It's actually starting to look really good, but we're going to make sure that it actually simmers a little bit because we want the sauce to thicken up just a little bit. Mushrooms, jackfruit, and sauce. All right, we're gonna get the other pan ready. Same thing, noodles. The nice thing about it too, is like your noodles and stuff will usually stick together, but since you're adding the sauce to them, and you can tell it's like pretty much has soaked up all the sauce. It's keeping them where they're not sticking together. They smell wonderful. But what you could do too, like if you buy one of the Uptons, the packs that have the flavorings, there's like an Asian flavoring and a barbecue flavoring. I'm trying to think, there's what other flavor that I've seen. You could actually just take those because the flavors are not overpowering. So you could take one of those packets instead of doing like this big process. You could just put it in the pan and actually add your mushrooms and some of the other things to it and make this a lot faster too. So we get our other pan because this is where we're going to start with all the beautiful vegetables. So we got carrots, we have bok choy, we had red peppers, red bell peppers, we have white onions, or you could use some other type of onion if you'd like, just depends on what you've got in the fridge. I've got spinach, but this is one of those ones, those dishes, you know, where you could add, you could be like, I want more green. So you add more broccoli, you could add like the different colors of that. Like if you had the mini bell peppers in a bag and you wanted to add all the reds and the greens and all those kind of things, you could do that. You could add, I mean, zucchini, pretty much anything you want. We are going to decorate it with, you know, adding some of the ingredients that'll have the scallions on top. It's going to have edamame, which you could saute in here if you wanted to. We've got some more cucumbers and then a little bit of kimchi. So it's going to be a beautiful dish. You can also add something like this and stuff. And I didn't even think about it and stuff. Red cabbage would be beautiful. Jerry likes his red cabbage, so. Taste wise, good. Got a little bit of ginger. So I would say not much sweetness at all. So even with the date paste, so you might, so if you like things that are like the sauces that are sweetener, a little bit sweetener, you might add a little bit more date paste in there, but it's not sweet at all. It's got a little bit of kick on that. And a little bit of like the nuttiness and things like that from the sesame seeds. So good overall. Okay, we're gonna set this off to the side. So sauce is pretty much thickened up. You see where it's nice and stuff. I don't want to cook it and simmer it where it's all the sauce is gone. You want it definitely where it's nice and like this. So off the side, because we need to get other things going. All right, vegetables. Add a little bit more of the crazy box vegetable broth. If you don't have vegetable broth or stock, and you, like I said, don't want it, just use water. That's fine. All right. So we've got that. So we already did the mushrooms. We already did everything else. So now we're going to add in the white onions. And I just took an onion, sliced it in half, and then just did the half moons. Like that. Add those in. Bell peppers, red bell peppers, nice thin slices. When you're doing the vegetables, it's kind of thinking about, you just want to make sure that like whatever vegetables you're doing, that they're a lot of the same type of size and things, because when you're making something like this up, like any type of like a Asian noodle salad or something, it's nice to have, where you could, if you put your fork in, you can get that perfect bite. So you can get a red bell pepper and the onions and the bok choy and carrots and all those fun things. So carrots, so just kind of a matchstick ready to go. The nice thing about carrots, you can buy them in the store that are pretty much, you can get the small little baby carrots if you want, but you can get the crinkles, shredded, all kinds of things. So you don't even have to, sit and cut and do the nice little cuts and stuff with the carrots, which is nice. Nice, pretty, nice going colors. Just saute the lid on a little bit. It'll take a little bit longer. Yeah, so the sauce, you can see, like I said, this on the bottom. See all the sauce with all the, so it's got the black, you get the black sesame seeds and the chili sauce and stuff is actually, or the chili powdered stuff is actually starting to break down a little bit, but it's really good. It's like, so it's just, like I said, I'm not a cucumber fan. It's just small one. But with just 5 minutes of soaking. Still taste a little bit of the cucumber, but because they haven't soaked overnight. But they're you got the cucumbers that are really crispy, and you have a little bit of that sweetness that from the agave, but then you also have a little bit of just that kind of that red pepper powder that's with that too, which is really good. So it's actually very refreshing and something that you could add once you make something like that, especially in the summer, if you have a great garden and you want to have lots of cucumbers, that's a great way to make up a lot of cucumbers and then put them on, baked potatoes and salads and, all kinds of dishes and stuff. So any type of noodle bowl, people love anything that's pickled or something like that. It just adds freshness. Looking good. All right, so once we get that going, then we're going to add, so we've got this, so we're going to add spinach and bok choy here in just a few minutes. What I want to do is make sure that the carrots are at least like al dente and to not so much where they're soft, like mushy and stuff, but just have that nice little crispness to it, but like I said, not chewy. I've splattered everywhere today. Must be the sign of the snowstorm coming up here in Colorado. It seems like it always comes in on the weekends, which I guess that's good because then Saturdays you can go out and shovel and not have to worry about other things going on. Still looking good. And the nice thing about having carrots, the like thin carrots, not done yet, but cook a lot faster. But close. So noodles taste like kind of like low sodium soy sauce, just little tinge of little sweetness, and then more of the sesame seeds, so really nutty, which is really good. These would be good just like this. They're good. Hot. Well, I don't know if you guys, some of you guys are probably not old enough to even know who Emeril Lagasse is, but he was like one of the first chefs that was out there doing cooking shows. And he always talked about that you always need smell-o-vision. Every TV needs smell-o-vision. So when we're making things like this, you could definitely smell it and you could smell like the spiciness and the fun things that are going on. I agree. That was like 20 years ago. So it's like right about the same time I went plant-based. Just kidding. Jerry had a big belly laugh at that. He shouldn't be laughing that hard. Good. Nice thing about it too, like carrots and bell peppers and stuff, you just, a lot of people are like, oh, you got to put lots of things on them to taste good. If you're, once you get used to really good plant-based, these like carrots and bell peppers and potatoes and everything else without everything on it, taste sweet and taste good. Nothing better than sauteed carrots. Okay, good. They look nice and good. Not real interesting because it's carrot, bell peppers, and onions, but all good. All right, so then we're going to add bok choy. So we just did 2 baby bok choys, and then just sliced them up. You could get they've got the babies that are about this big, and then they have the big ones. If you do the big ones, depending on how much bok choy you're looking for, I would say probably 1 would be more than enough, but these are the baby. Jerry's one of Jerry's favorites. So I just did a rough chop all the way up, got them all done. Bok choy though, you've got to be careful. You want to make sure you wash them quite a bit. They're almost like fennel or something like that. They tend to hold dirt. So you just kind of give it a nice little wash and you're ready to go. Some nice greens adding in there. Looks like I have a little bit in pieces. Just crunch up a little bit. Spinach, 2 cups of spinach. That's just baby spinach. You could always add, in collard greens, whatever you like. Spinach is just easy. It's easy to keep in the fridge and put it in smoothies and have it, for salads and things. Easy to get a hold of. So pretty with all the vegetables. The nice thing about this too, let's just say you do a cup, one night of the noodle bowls, and then you're like, oh, I really don't want to do another one next or tomorrow because part of the ingredients are gone. The vegetables or even the noodles and stuff is you could use it as like a cold noodle salad, or you could actually put it on, make another like a regular salad with it, or put it on some, vegetables, other vegetables or potatoes. You could do some roasted potatoes. There's just so much you could do with a big pan of sauteed vegetables. Looks colorful. Yeah, it's very colorful. Doesn't take long for your spinach but I want to give it just a few minutes and stuff to make sure that the bok choy gets a little bit of the sauteing done. But like I said, this is one of those recipes that, make it your own. So you've got the base recipe, you've got the, the different ingredients, the sauces and all that. But think about, maybe you want to do some sliced broccoli, you want to do some cauliflower, and you've got some, different types of vegetables that you chopped up for other types of meal prep or thinking you would eat them, but then all of a sudden you don't. This is where you could put them, because it's not going to matter what kind of vegetables you put in it, because the sauce and everything else is going to make it. Okay, there's enough for the bok choy. Everything else looking good. All right, so we've got everything in there. Everything's wilted. So this is where you'll notice and stuff that I haven't done any like salt or pepper. You could definitely do some black pepper. The salt and stuff we stay away from. I don't cook with salt, but I always put salt on the table in case somebody like me wants a little bit of salt. Jerry doesn't do salt at all, but it's more, it's Chef AJ talks too about it, and I fully believe it too. It's one of those things, if you salt a lot of things, you end up craving things, you crave more things to eat, you overeat. And then it's also like, if you do too much salt, you crave more salt. If you do too much sweet, like you do a candy bar or something like that, you end up craving sweet almost the same time the next day. And so it's, it's about health benefits and all those kind of things. So we're always looking at, and I find that, truthfully, by the time you add, like you've got low sodium soy sauce, you still have sodium in it. So there's enough flavorings in there that you really don't have to salt it if you definitely don't want to. Okay, so now add the noodles. Making sure all my sesame seed. I think I'll just do this. Everything up. We've got all these beautiful vegetables. This, like I said, this is one that you could definitely, do it with the noodle bowl tonight, and you do it with the jackfruit, but then don't mix all the jackfruit in or put the jackfruit on it. And then tomorrow, this could be a cold noodle salad, which is really good. I love cold noodle salads. Okay, we got this medium low. All right, got everything in there. We've got, so moving the noodles around, just making sure they're getting warmed up again. You've got a little bit of the sauce that's in there. And then we're gonna plate. Move this out of the way somewhere. So your choice when you're making this, you can either, so you got the jackfruit, so you got that off to the side. You can actually add the jackfruit in. So if you're making something up and you're like, I just want everything mixed together and, a good pair of chopsticks and away you go, you could definitely do that. The way that the noodle bowl is actually made is you're putting it, like topping it, using it as topping, but make it as easy or as simple as you want. It's completely up to you. And I guarantee you, no matter how you make it, if you mix it in, or you don't mix it in and you just use it as a topper and use the jackfruit for other things, you're going to love it. It's good. All right, so we're going to do the noodles. So it's normally you would do 4 bowls. So it's going to give you 4 bowls about this size, but I'm going to use this bowl to show you the cucumbers. because they're not as pretty when you're looking at something like this. And I'm not going to wash this dish because what I'm going to do is after we're done eating these, then I'll put them back in here so they can just marinate some more. A little bit of the sauce. Go off the side. Black sesame seeds. I would, for recommendations, so there's a question about, do I recommend making the cucumbers the night before? I would, you could definitely, like if you're, are in the morning and then you're going to make it for dinner, then it just means that your cucumbers, just like anything else, they get to marinate a lot more, which is a really good thing. Because the more they marinate, the more they take on those flavors. All right, so I'm going to show here in a second. All right, let's get noodles. And what did I do with? Oh. Grabbing some of the beautiful vegetables. If you have the bowls that are, they go up like that, this would be a really pretty dish in those type of bowls. Get some greenery. One more. All right, so then we have kimchi, edamame, scallions, cucumbers, seaweed. I'm not a seaweed fan. So this is Jerry's bowl. He gets that. And of course, jackfruit. So I'm trying to think how I want to do this. I think I will put the jackfruit in the middle. And all the mushrooms. But this is one you can put it all over. You could mix it in. You could do whatever you want. Completely up to you. So think about artistry. Or truthfully, if it's just you, makes it good. Cucumbers. Edamame. Spread it out. Then you've got the green scallions, making sure. Oh, I got a little bit of kimchi. I'll do that here in a second. Let me do that first. So this is just packed kimchi. So this is just spicy red Napa cabbage. You can get it at all the regular stores. You can make your own. Very easy to make. Take that off. Spicy, it's definitely spicy. So I'm just going to put just a little bit. Okay, then we've got scallions, green ones. Seaweed, so just strips of seaweed. I'll just kind of tear it up a little bit. Seaweed would not be going on my bowl. To me, it's like licking the bottom of the ocean. I do sushi, but I do it with soy paper. Okay. We got everything. Yep. Just adding the color back in because we kind of buried it just a little bit. You can see it. And we are done. So one thing that you could do too, before I show this and stuff, you could actually take, you could make up the noodle sauce and the jackfruit sauce. You could make up like double the batches of that. And then you could always have something like a drizzle, or, you know, after this is all done and you're like, oh, I'd like a little teriyaki sauce or something, you could definitely add it to that too. So I get it where it's, that you're ready. All right. So kimchi cucumbers. Nice and like I said, nice little bit of spicy, but not much at all. More like sweet, a little bit of your soy sauce, so you've got a little bit of the salt in there. But really good. Once they marinate overnight and stuff, like I said, I will actually eat these versus just regular cucumbers. But really good, pretty. You could take some of these, especially the next day, and you could add these to your jackfruit noodle bowl too, because that freshness, crispness is always good. There is the jackfruit noodle bowl. So once it's all ready to go, then good pair of chopsticks or something else and mix it all up together and away you go. You could always add just a little bit, you know, like another dollop of gochujang. Like that. There you go. So there is, I guess, Jerry's dinner tonight. So it's got a big noodle bowl, jackfruit noodle bowl. And you can have as much jackfruit as you want after I take the picture. And then our cucumber kimchi. Pretty. Two pretty dishes. Guarantee you could use this on something like this, make this up, add this as a side dish, have it as a party, have it at, you know, especially like summertime, or, you know, you got a bunch of friends coming over, you could do something like this and just have everybody, you know, make up their own. They've got the base of the noodle bowl, but they can put all their toppings and, you know, everything else on it and have a fun party. So hope you guys enjoyed. Next 2 weeks and stuff, I think we're going to do a great recipe for sloppy joes, which is really good. And it's really good to use like on potatoes and all kinds of good things. It's one of those ones that you'll make up and then use a lot of time. So we're going to make it with lentils. So like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. Love you guys. See you next time. Have a great night. Stay warm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.